I cannot believe I'm about to say this. The motor factors was €400 more than the main dealer. Hello and welcome to another Budget and Leggit video. Yes, the main dealer was €400 cheaper than the motor factors. I know that sounds crazy. I'm doing this for another garage, and the other garage told me he priced up a battery from the motor factors, and then he went to the main dealer. He priced up the battery from the motor factors, and then he told the customer. The customer then priced up the battery from the main dealer, and it was €400 cheaper. The customer has brought this battery. This is not a main dealer battery, but the customer has brought the battery. But yes, €400 cheaper than the main dealer. How is that even possible? I don't know what make of battery he originally priced up, and I don't know what make of battery the main dealer was selling him. All I know is this is what I've got to work with. So this is what I have to put in. This is what I've been told to put in. This is what I'm going to put in. Now, these hybrid batteries, or these 12-volt hybrid batteries, they're not cheap. This is an AMG battery, but they're just not cheap. I have a 2017 Toyota RAV4 hybrid, and the battery is right there. Right, when I remove this cover, it just pops up. Remove this cover, again, just pops up. Well, it should do. There we go. It normally do. And there we go. That is our 12-volt battery. And we have the same one, 45 amp hour, 325 cold cranking amps, which is good. So there we go. Now, we'll show you the way how to actually replace this. As always, modern car, hybrid, you need specialist tools. Oh, I'm dying with the cold. Anyway, this is the specialist tools I am using. You don't necessarily need the same ones as this, but you need something as the equivalent. You need some sort of memory saver, battery saver. I am using my breakout box. These things are absolutely awesome, but it also doubles as a battery saver, which is really handy. Now, the good thing about this is I got this from Ireland. I got this from Ryan's Automotive. They do absolutely everything. But what I really like about this is you have the voltage. So when I put the battery to this, we will have our voltage. If the battery is running low, or if it is low, this thing will start beeping at you. So it gives you warning. Then you need some sort of battery tester. We're going to test the battery first before we do the job. And just to make sure that, you know, it is definitely an issue with the battery and not just replacing it for no reason. The reason why we are replacing the battery is because there's some really weird things happening with this car. Electrical issues, warning lights on the dash, absolutely everything. And people don't realize how important the 12-volt battery is for the hybrid vehicles. They think just because you've got, you know, a 300 volt or 500 volt, 200 volt, whatever it is, you know, battery pack in these, you don't really need the 12 volts battery. Where you do, the 12-volt battery actually does a lot, and depending on the vehicle, without the 12-volt battery, the big battery pack doesn't work. You know, it all depends on how it's actually set up, but the 12-volt battery is vitally important for a hybrid. Hokey cokey. Now, this thing is absolutely, seriously bloody awesome. It checks all the batteries. It even puts a load on the battery to test it properly, because if you're not putting a load on the battery, you can't test it properly. So there's actually a heater here that puts a big load on the battery to actually test it properly. So let's go on to Bodgit and Leggit. Oh, it needs a password. 1, 2, 3, enter. Now, we've got loads of different tests. We're just going to do a simple battery test. This thing's got a multimeter on. It can even do the current draw. It can do absolutely everything. And it even does the reserve capacity of batteries. So we're going to test it inside the vehicle. We're going to test it by number plate. So it is the Irish number plate. I'm not going to put the number plate on, but you can do the option. So when we do a printout, it just looks a lot more professional. So we do have to put the number plate in because it won't allow us go any further. So I'm just going to put, we'll call it Bob. because, you know. Now we need to tell it what it is. So we're going to go cold cranking amps, and it's, what did I say it was? It's 325, is that right? Yep, 325, 45 amp hour. And then hopefully now you should hear something. Oh yeah, we got a take. That is very important, actually. The temperature of the battery makes all the difference, absolutely all the difference, because depending on the temperature, the battery can't work properly. So the fact that we can take a temperature, so it's 11 degrees, the battery, you can even tell you, look, what the battery is at the minute. So just let that do that. Now, can you hear that? That's putting the load on. That's what's very important to test the battery properly. And look, it tells us exactly, not does it only tell you that it's good or bad, it tells us that we've got a bad cell short. It hasn't even done everything else because it would normally test everything, but because it's already detected that it's got a massive short, it's not going to do the full test. You heard it click on. This will now print for us. You heard it click on to actually test the battery. Oh, look at that. How cool and professional. Here's that, and it even says it on it, look. Bodgitandleggit. Bob. Even says bad cell. Oh, it was 11. It was 12 degrees. I thought it was 11 degrees, and it doesn't matter. Maybe I just pressed it at the wrong time. But there we go. So we now know we've got an issue. And like I said, a bad 12-volt battery in a hybrid car can cause lots and lots of problems. Right. Just for shits and giggles, let's do the new one. Because just because you've got a new battery doesn't mean you got a good battery. How long has this battery been sitting for? You know, there's all these questions. Right, do a new test. Hear it? Oh, it's just switched itself off, but did you hear that? So, I'm going to go enter password. Leon is awesome. Oh, did I say that out loud? Number plate, Bob 2. You can hear that? Yeah, it's yep. So, hybrid battery, we just put the hybrid battery in, and we want to do cold cranking amps. Oh, one thing I didn't do the other time, AMG. See, I did do that originally when I tested the battery originally for them, but I forgot to put it on the last test, but I know I already did that. So AMG battery, that's what that is, very, very important. Battery rating 325 amps, cold cranking amps 45. I wonder how many people honestly spotted that. But this is the most important one because this is the new one. So, continue. 12 degrees, 13 degrees. Testing. See, look, 12.4, it's not fully charged. It's saying it's good, but it's saying we need to charge it. 366 cold cranking amps, so it's way more. Battery is good, but low charge. We can clearly see that from 12.4 volts. And the reserve health is good as well, so we can print that. Did I press print? There we go, print. And it's printing. So just because it's a new battery, it's always good to test. And Bob 2 is good. Bob 1 is bad. Just love this Mixtronics DSS 5000 because it's completely wireless. So when you've got a battery that's in the boot, for example, like this hybrid, right? Sometimes the lead doesn't fit inside. This is completely hybrid. This is completely touchscreen and wireless. It is awesome. Right, so the first thing we need to do is put our breakout box into the OBD2 connection. It's already beeping at us, look, because the battery is way too low. So this is the good thing about this. It's going to beep at us even if we have an issue with our battery putting in. So we've got a battery here, which is good, connected to the other side of it. So all I've got to do is very simple, is put this on like that. So I put the battery on, you can see we're at 12.4, 12.5 volts, so even this battery isn't fully charged. So I'll plug this back in and you'll see, look, it is bringing up the new battery. The old battery is so well down that it's draining this battery to try and fill up the other battery. But that's going to be good enough for us to take it off. As I disconnect the main battery, this will go back up to 12 odd volts. I haven't disconnected the other battery yet, but you can see it's climbing up, so it's working. It's at 11.5 volts now. That's enough voltage for us to save all our settings and stuff anyway, because depend on your car, you don't just lose things like memory seats or memory for your seats and stuff like that. You know, you can lose radio codes, you can lose keys, you can lose in some cars. If you don't do this, it won't even start afterwards. And this is not even a hybrid car, just a normal car on a newer car can cause you a lot of problems. So you always need a battery saver. It's vitally important. Right, on this car you got a cradle around the battery. So we've got all 10 mils, two 10 mil bolts and a 10 mil nut. So 10 mil bolt here, 10 mil nut here, 10 mil bolt there, and there's the cradle. But we can't get the cradle off until we actually take off the main power here, because it kind of comes up there. But now we've got the battery saver on, what you've got to remember is when we take this off, there's going to be power here, so we don't want it to earth, we don't want it to do anything. So I've got a really thick heavy rubber glove which I'm going to put over here just to stop it from earthing against anything. The earth obviously not really a problem, but it's the power we really need to look after. Another thing you have to be very careful of is if you're using a spanner, a ratchet or anything, you don't want to, especially on the power, touch the power and touch an earth at the same time, for obvious reasons, because you will not have a good day, especially on a modern car with 4 million modules and all sorts of stuff going on. You just don't want to do it. So you take this off, wrap it up inside here. Maybe even double wrap it. Let me get this off. Right, forgot about that. Should now come off. There's the cradle, quite a big thing. I'm going to put this back on the new battery, and now we can take the old battery out. And obviously put the new battery in. Also I'm going to connect this back, pushes it on the side of the battery. There's a little hole where it lines up. It has to go, well, it can only go on one way. At least then, take that off. But at least then, you know, any sweat comes out the battery, it's not gonna go, or it's gonna drain through itself. And come to our battery, 12 volts essentially. That's good enough to keep all our memory. Yeah. Just need to put, oh, of course, I need to put this in first. There's mixed reviews about keeping these covers, but you can do whatever you feel is best for you. Now, one thing you do have to remember, you have to put the cradle down first before you put, oh god, this has to come off. That's the last thing to go on. You stay there. The cradle goes down. Now we can put that on. There we go. What I'm going to do, just so this doesn't do anything, is now just put that on there before I completely screw everything down. Because now at least there's power going back into the car. Now I can tighten everything down. And look, gone up to 12.4. I'm not going to disconnect that yet because I haven't got the battery connected properly, but I just wanted to show you the voltage. So personally what I like to do is tighten the battery. Right, we'll try that again. So personally what I like to do is tighten the battery down first before I completely tighten all the cradle and the nuts and bolts and everything, just to make sure there's no issue. Because normally when you tighten everything down, put all the covers back on, spend all that time, you realise there's a problem and you have to take it all back off again. Now there is a special cover here so you can't earth the spanner out with this, but if you've got the 1000-volt spanners, the insulating spanners, I do have sets of them but don't have them with me. But you don't really need them, you just got to be careful. When you're working with the high voltage battery, that's different, but this is like any normal battery, you just have to be careful and you don't earth it out. Now, let's see if this starts. What I always like to do before I disconnect it is disconnect the battery first and look at a voltage. Now, our battery is disconnected. All we're basically tied into is the OBD2 plug, and it's telling us on terminal 30 we have 12.4 volts, which, yes, it needs charging, but you know, it's gonna work. Let me move the battery out of the way. Right, let's just make sure that this starts. Keys are in it. Press the button. There we go. No error codes, just that we've got the boot open and the door open, but no error codes. Good stuff. Right, what I've done is I've just left the car ticking over, and after about 3 or 4 minutes the car switches itself off and basically gone into EV mode. So that's really good. That means it's happy with the battery. That means it's happy with, you know, whatever charge it's put in it, and it's also happy that it knows when I press the throttle it's going to start again. You ready? See? So the vehicle is now started again. Well, I say started, but you know, the engine's kicked in. As you can hear now, it's just kicked off again. So that we now know that it likes the battery. There's no issues with the system. It's all good, because if there's any issue with the battery, it wouldn't switch off the engine, it wouldn't do anything, and it would be throwing up a lot of codes. Just kicked in because I know if I don't do this, I know I'm going to get people saying, well, you didn't test it properly, so that means that this is the reason why it failed, because you didn't do it. You know, the absolute fucking muppets who think they know every fucking thing. So I'm testing the old battery, but I'm just putting it to AMG 45. Continue, which I already did before, to be fair. That's live reading of the battery. Oh, it's really taken a nosedive. See, replace battery. Yes, it doesn't say bad cell anymore, but it still says replace battery. So that's what it said to me last time. So that's how I knew I was confident about the battery. And we can print that again. And there we go. Boom. Just had a serious close call. I used this and I left that up there like that as I was finished tightening all that. So I just left it up there. It then decided to slide down, and it actually touched this, but it was over here, and I just put my hands underneath it just before it touched the battery. That would have been a bad thing. So yeah, just keep all your tools and everything well away from it. Like, you would never, that's not even at an angle. Look, I can hold that there. Whichever way I put it on. I don't know if I put it on there. Anyway, look, doesn't matter. Just be careful. All right, so there we go. We're all good to go. The car is happy. It will kick in once the battery gets a little bit low, but I can just force it to kick in by putting the throttle on. And there we go, it's done. So as always, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Links up here, links down below, but most important, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.